Dr. Maya Johnson stood at the podium, her heart racing as she faced the audience assembled at the annual Medical Innovations Conference. The bright lights overhead illuminated her determined expression, and her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the microphone. She had spent years pouring her soul into her research on a potential cure for a rare disease that had claimed countless lives, and today was her moment to shine. As she began her presentation, the PowerPoint slides flickered to life behind her, showcasing intricate data and compelling visuals. Today, I am excited to share with you the results of my latest research on the efficacy of our new compound, she announced, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in her stomach. This formula shows promise in targeting the underlying mechanisms of the disease, potentially offering hope to those suffering. The audience leaned in, captivated by her passion and the clarity of her findings. A murmur of approval rippled through the crowd as she explained the significance of her work. However, not everyone was impressed. In the back of the room, a small group of her colleagues, including her former mentor, Dr. Ethan Collins, exchanged skeptical glances and whispered among themselves. "Do you really think she knows what she's talking about?" One of them scoffed, shaking his head. "I mean, look at her. She's just another diversity hire." Ethan remained silent, his brow furrowed. He had once admired Maya's brilliance, but his mind was clouded by the biases of the academic world. He had always believed in meritocracy, yet he couldn't shake the nagging doubts that stemmed from the whispers around him. As Maya continued her presentation, detailing her groundbreaking findings with fervor, Ethan's thoughts drifted to the upcoming selection process for a prestigious research team, a team he was leading. Would Maya truly be a fit? After Maya concluded her presentation, the room erupted into applause. She felt a swell of pride. This was what she had worked for. But as she stepped down from the podium, her heart sank when she overheard Ethan and the others discussing her exclusion from the team. "Team dynamics are important," Ethan asserted, his voice confident yet dismissive. "We need someone who can mesh with our established processes. It's nothing personal, but Maya is unconventional." Maya's stomach twisted at his words. It felt personal. It felt like a rejection of everything she was. She clenched her fists and turned away, fighting back tears. This was not the first time she had faced such bias, but each incident cut deeper than the last. She had hoped that her research would speak for itself, but now she was confronted with the harsh reality of systemic barriers that loomed over her career. That evening, Maya retreated to her lab, the dim light casting shadows on the walls lined with books and equipment. The silence enveloped her as she sat at her workstation, surrounded by the remnants of her unyielding dedication. She glanced at her notes, the scribbles filled with ideas and hypotheses that had fueled her passion for science. Determination replaced despair as she reminded herself of her purpose. "I will not let them define my worth," she muttered under her breath, her voice barely above a whisper in the stillness. With renewed vigor, Maya dove back into her research. Hours flew by as she tinkered with her formulas, her mind racing with possibilities. Suddenly, a spark of inspiration hit her like a bolt of lightning. She began adjusting the variables in her formula, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she entered new data. The excitement bubbled inside her, growing stronger with each passing moment. This could change everything, she thought, her heart pounding in rhythm with her thoughts. As the clock ticked on, Maya stumbled upon a breakthrough that enhanced the efficacy of her initial research significantly. She stared at the screen, her eyes wide in disbelief. This is it," she exclaimed aloud, a grin spreading across her face. The implications of her discovery were vast. The potential to revolutionize treatment for the disease she had devoted herself to combating finally within reach. With newfound energy, she meticulously documented her findings, her fingers dancing across the keyboard as she composed her paper. Maya knew she was on the verge of something extraordinary, but she also felt the weight of the challenges that lay ahead. She was determined to prove her worth, to show that her voice deserved to be heard. Little did she know, the battle she was about to face would test her resolve in ways she had never imagined. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the lab, Dr. Ethan Collins hunched over the lab bench, his mind a whirlpool of frustration. His team, a group of seasoned researchers, had gathered around him, their faces etched with concern. They were attempting to replicate the results of Dr. Maya Johnson's groundbreaking research, but with each failed experiment, the atmosphere grew heavier. "Ethan, this isn't working," Dr. Lisa Chun, a molecular biologist with sharp features and a sharper wit, sighed as she tossed her gloves onto the counter. "We've tried every variable, and we're still nowhere close." Ethan rubbed his temples, feeling the weight of his decision to exclude Maya. I know, but we need to make this work. We can't let her have the last word on this. We're a team, and we should be able to pull this off." "But what if we can't?" asked Raj, the team's computational biologist, his voice laced with anxiety. "What if she really was onto something that we just can't see? We might be chasing shadows here." Ethan's jaw tightened. "We can't think like that. We have to move forward. We have a presentation to prepare for the conference in 2 weeks. We need results, and fast." He cast a glance at the array of data printed out on the table, hoping to find a glimmer of insight. "Let's try modifying the compound structure again." As the team resumed their work, the tension hung palpably in the air. Ethan felt a flicker of doubt, but quickly extinguished it. He had been in academia long enough to know that sometimes ambition required sacrifice, even if that sacrifice was a talented scientist like Maya. Meanwhile, in her own secluded lab, Maya was riding a wave of exhilaration. Her discovery was more than just a breakthrough. It was a revelation that could change lives. She had spent countless nights refining her formula, and now, with the sun setting, she felt an overwhelming urge to share it with someone who believed in her, Dr. Angela Reed. "Angela, I need your guidance," Maya said, her voice trembling slightly as she entered Angela's office, the walls adorned with accolades and framed journals. Angela looked up, her warm smile and wise eyes instantly calming Maya's racing heart. "Of course, Maya. What's on your mind?" Angela motioned for her to sit, sensing the urgency in her tone. "I've made a breakthrough," Maya said, her eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "It's a new formula that enhances the efficacy of my initial research. I want to publish it, but I'm afraid of the backlash from Ethan's team. They're presenting soon, and I worry they'll try to discredit my work." Angela leaned back thoughtfully, her fingers steepled under her chin. "You have to publish it, Maya. This is your work, and you deserve the recognition. But I understand your concerns. The scientific community can be ruthless." Maya nodded, her heart pounding. "What if they retaliate? What if they try to undermine my findings?" "Then you'll be prepared," Angela replied, her voice steady. "You have the data to back your claims. Stand firm in your truth. Your discovery could save lives. Don't let fear hold you back." Maya took a deep breath, feeling a spark of confidence ignite within her. "You're right. I'll finalize the paper and submit it. I can't let them take this from me." Back in Ethan's lab, the deadline loomed closer as they struggled to find any semblance of success. The announcement of their findings at the major conference was drawing nearer, and Ethan's anxiety had transformed into desperation. "Ethan, we have to face it. What if Maya's formula really does work better than ours?" Lisa asked, her eyes narrowing as she looked at him. "We can't just ignore that possibility." Ethan's frustration bubbled over. "We're not ignoring anything. We just need to be smarter about our approach. If we can't get this to work, we'll simply find a way to make it seem like we did." As he spoke, Maya was hunched over her computer, fingers flying across the keyboard as she finalized her paper. Each word felt like a step toward reclaiming her rightful place in the scientific community. Her heart raced as she clicked submit, and she sat back in her chair, a mix of relief and exhilaration flooding over her. But just as she began to celebrate the moment, her phone buzzed. A notification flashed on the screen. Ethan's team was about to announce their findings at the upcoming conference. Panic surged through her as she realized the stakes had just been raised. "No, this can't be happening," she muttered to herself, her heart pounding. Time was slipping away, and she needed to ensure her voice was heard before it was too late. The battle she had prepared for was no longer a distant worry. It was right at her doorstep. As the conference hall buzzed with anticipation, Dr. Ethan Collins stood at the podium, a confident smile plastered across his face. The bright lights illuminated his features, creating an almost halo-like effect. Behind him, the large screen displayed graphs and data points from his team's research, data he had meticulously crafted, but which had been built upon the foundation of Dr. Maya Johnson's groundbreaking work. Yet, he made no mention of her name, a fact that sent a wave of unease through the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ethan began, his voice smooth and practiced, "we are here today to unveil our latest findings on the revolutionary treatment for the rare disease we've been studying. Our team has worked tirelessly to achieve these results, and I am proud to present this data that demonstrates a significant breakthrough." He gestured toward the screen, where the results flashed in bold letters, sparking murmurs of intrigue among the attendees. Maya, standing at the back of the hall, felt her heart race as she pushed through the crowd. She had arrived just in time to hear Ethan's presentation. Anger coursed through her veins as she listened to him take credit for her hard work, omitting the crucial contribution that had made their findings possible. As the applause began to swell, Maya's resolve hardened. She couldn't stand by and let this injustice go unchallenged. With every ounce of determination, she stepped forward, her heart pounding in her chest. "Excuse me, Dr. Collins," she called out, her voice rising above the applause. The room fell silent, heads turning in her direction. Ethan's smile faltered for a brief moment, surprise flashing across his features before he masked it with a practiced composure. "Dr. Johnson," he replied, feigning cordiality. "I didn't see you there. We're just discussing the exciting results our team has achieved." Maya took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. Exciting results? Or results built on my groundbreaking research? Her voice was steady, but the passion behind her words ignited a spark in the audience. Whispers rippled through the crowd as they processed the confrontation unfolding before them. "Ethan, you know that the formula you're presenting is based on the work I submitted for review months ago. You had no right to present this without acknowledging my contribution," she continued, her voice gaining strength. Ethan straightened, his facade of confidence wavering. "This is not the time or place for personal disputes, Maya. We're here to celebrate scientific progress," he argued, attempting to deflect attention away from the accusation. "Celebrate?" Maya scoffed, her words dripping with indignation. "You're celebrating a lie. I spent countless nights in the lab, pouring my heart and soul into this research. You excluded me from the team, but you cannot erase my work or the truth." The tension in the room thickened, and Maya's fervor captivated the audience. They began to lean in, the earlier skepticism shifting into curiosity and support for Maya. Ethan's expression hardened, his voice rising to match Maya's intensity. "You're out of line, Maya. This is unprofessional and inappropriate." "Unprofessional? What's unprofessional is taking credit for someone else's work," she shot back, her voice unwavering. "You may hold a title, Ethan, but I hold the truth. And the truth deserves to be acknowledged." The murmurs in the audience transformed into supportive nods, eyes wide with realization. Maya felt the weight of their attention, the shift in the atmosphere as they began to understand the gravity of the situation. She took a step closer to the podium, her gaze locked onto Ethan's. "I'm not here to tear you down, but to stand up for what is right. Science is built on collaboration, on acknowledging those who contribute to our collective knowledge. And I will not let you rob me of that recognition." As she spoke, a ripple of applause began to break through the silence, growing louder as more attendees joined in, rallying behind Maya's courage. Ethan's face flushed, his carefully crafted facade crumbling under the weight of Maya's conviction. In that moment, Maya realized that her journey had led her to this pivotal confrontation. She was not just fighting for her recognition, but for all those who had been marginalized in the field of science. The room echoed with applause, and for the first time, she felt the power of her voice resonate beyond her own ambitions. The aftermath of the confrontation at the conference left Dr. Maya Johnson with a whirlwind of emotions. Her paper, which highlighted her groundbreaking discovery, had been published and was receiving an unprecedented amount of attention. She sat in her lab one afternoon, surrounded by stacks of research papers, a vibrant collage of colorful graphs and charts taped to the walls, and the comforting hum of laboratory equipment in the background. Maya's heart swelled with pride as she read the latest comments from her peers. Maya called Dr. Angela Reed as she entered the lab, a wide smile spreading across her face. "Have you seen the latest reviews of your paper? It's all over social media. People are finally recognizing your work." Maya looked up, her eyes shining with a mix of disbelief and elation. "I can't believe it, Angela. It feels surreal. After everything, to see my research acknowledged like this, it's overwhelming." "But you deserve it," Angela replied, leaning against the desk. "You fought for your place, and now the scientific community is starting to see how valuable your contributions are." As they spoke, an alert pinged on Maya's phone. It was a notification from a leading scientific journal inviting her to give a keynote address at an upcoming event, celebrating groundbreaking research in medicine. Her heart raced. This was the kind of visibility she had always dreamed of. However, not everyone was pleased with Maya's rise to fame. In the shadows, Dr. Ethan Collins paced in his office, his brow furrowed with anxiety. The initial thrill of presenting his team's findings had quickly faded as he observed the tide turning in Maya's favor. Colleagues who once overlooked her were now showering her with accolades, and he felt his own reputation slipping. "I underestimated her," Ethan muttered to himself, clenching his fists. "I need to act before it's too late." Determined to regain control, he concocted a scheme. The following day, during a break in a departmental meeting, he cornered his colleague, Dr. Lisa Chun, in the hallway. "Lisa," he began, lowering his voice conspiratorially, "have you heard about some inconsistencies in Maya's research methods? There are rumors she's manipulated her data." Lisa raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "What do you mean? I thought her findings were validated by multiple sources." Ethan shrugged, feigning nonchalance. "You know how these things go. Science is competitive. You hear whispers, and before you know it, they become facts. It might be worth looking into." As Lisa walked away, unease settled in her stomach. She had always respected Maya's work and found it hard to believe the rumors. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about Ethan's sudden concern. Meanwhile, Maya was blissfully unaware of Ethan's machinations. She was lost in preparations for her keynote address, her thoughts swirling with gratitude and trepidation. An invitation to the prestigious awards ceremony sat prominently on her desk, its golden lettering gleaming under the fluorescent lights. A blend of excitement and anxiety gnawed at her insides. "Angela," Maya said during one of their late-night brainstorming sessions, "I'm so proud of what's happening, but I can't shake this fear. What if they turn on me? What if they find a reason to discredit my work?" Angela placed a reassuring hand on Maya's shoulder. "You can't control what others do, but you can control how you respond. Focus on your work and let your passion shine through. You've built a solid foundation. Don't let doubt undermine your achievements." Maya nodded, drawing strength from Angela's words. Yet deep down, the fear lingered. The scientific community could be ruthless, especially toward those who dared to rise above the fray. She took a deep breath, channeling her anxiety into her preparations. As the date of the award ceremony approached, an invitation from the event committee arrived, sparking a mixture of joy and dread. Maya knew this was a pivotal moment in her career, yet she couldn't shake the feeling that she was standing on the precipice of something dangerous. As she practiced her speech late into the night, the words flowed from her heart, filled with the struggles and triumphs of her journey. But in the back of her mind, a small voice whispered warnings of potential backlash. What if Ethan's rumors gained traction? What if her hard work was dismantled by his deceit? Maya shook her head, pushing the negativity aside. She had fought too hard to let fear dictate her future. She would take the stage and share her truth, no matter the consequences. As Maya Johnson stood at the podium, her heart raced with a combination of excitement and trepidation. The lights dimmed, and she could feel the weight of the audience's gaze upon her. This was her moment, a culmination of years of hard work, perseverance, and resilience against the systemic biases she had faced in academia. She cleared her throat, adjusting her glasses, and began her speech. Good evening, esteemed colleagues and guests. Maya spoke, her voice steady yet charged with emotion. Tonight, I stand before you not just as a scientist, but as a testament to the power of perseverance. For too long, voices like mine have been silenced in the halls of science, dismissed and overlooked. But we are here to change that. The audience shifted, some leaning forward, captivated by her words. As she continued, Maya recounted her journey, her struggles, her late nights in the lab, and the moment she discovered the groundbreaking formula that could change the face of modern medicine. Science thrives on diversity. It is enriched by perspectives from all walks of life. When we embrace this diversity, we unlock the true potential of innovation, she declared, her passion igniting the room. By the time she concluded, the audience erupted into applause, a standing ovation resonating through the grand hall. Tears brimmed in Maya's eyes, not just from joy, but from the realization that her voice was finally being heard. She stepped down from the stage, her heart swelling with pride, when she caught sight of Ethan Collins across the room. He stood among his team, a forced smile plastered on his face, but his eyes betrayed a simmering resentment. Meanwhile, Ethan's earlier schemes began to unravel. As the applause continued to echo, one of his colleagues, Dr. Lisa Green, approached him with a furrowed brow. "Ethan, we need to talk," she said, her tone stern. "I heard some troubling things about the rumors you've been spreading about Maya's research. Is there any truth to them?" Ethan's face darkened. "I was just trying to protect our project." "She's a threat." "A threat?" Lisa interrupted, her voice rising. "She's a brilliant scientist. You're risking not just your reputation, but the integrity of our entire team. I can't believe you'd stoop this low." She shook her head in disappointment, turning away to join other colleagues who were discussing Maya's speech. Ethan felt the heat of scrutiny from his peers, doubt creeping into their minds about his motives. As he watched them flock to Maya, he sensed the tide turning against him. The whispers of skepticism he had planted were now echoing back at him, and he found himself isolated in a room filled with colleagues who once revered him. Back at the awards ceremony, Maya was enveloped in a whirlwind of congratulations. Friends and fellow scientists approached her, eager to share their admiration. "Maya, that was incredible. You've inspired so many people tonight," said Dr. Angela Reed, her voice warm with pride. "I knew you had it in you." "Thank you, Angela. I just wanted to show that we all have a place in this field," Maya replied, her heart still racing from the speech. Yet, amidst the celebration, a notification pinged on her phone, drawing her attention away from the festivities. Maya frowned as she read the message, which was anonymous but chilling. "Watch your back. Someone is plotting against you." A wave of unease washed over her, and she glanced around the room, her mind racing. Who would want to sabotage her now, especially after such a triumphant moment? Her instincts kicked in. Maya realized she needed to be vigilant, to uncover the truth behind the message. As she navigated through the crowd, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The fight was not just about her success. It was about ensuring that integrity prevailed in the scientific community. She had to protect her work and reputation, and now, it seemed, she would have to delve deeper into the shadows where ambition often twisted into betrayal. "Hey Maya, you okay?" Angela's voice broke through her thoughts, concern etched on her face. "Yeah, just a little overwhelmed, I guess," Maya responded, forcing a smile. But inside, she was already strategizing her next move, determined to uncover the source of the threat and protect the hard-won recognition she had finally earned. Maya sat at her cluttered desk, the dim light of her desk lamp illuminating a series of documents spread out before her. Her heart raced as she pieced together the evidence of Ethan's deceitful tactics. The whispers that had circulated around the lab had been more than just idle gossip. They were calculated strategies to undermine her work. She had collected emails, recorded conversations, and noted the timestamps of when Ethan had spread false narratives about her methods. The weight of her findings pressed heavily on her shoulders, but she knew she had to confront him. The scientific community would need to see the truth. The next day, the auditorium buzzed with energy as scientists from across the country gathered for the annual conference. Maya took a deep breath, clutching her folder tightly as she navigated through the crowd. She spotted Ethan, standing near the front, his usual confident demeanor a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing beneath the surface. Today, she would expose him. "Dr. Collins," Maya called out, her voice steady but laced with tension. Ethan turned, a flicker of surprise crossing his face before he masked it with a smile. "Maya, what a surprise to see you here. I hope you're not planning to disrupt the conference again," he said, his tone mocking. "Actually, I am. I have something important to share with everyone, including the truth about your recent claims," she replied, her voice unwavering. Ethan's smile faltered, his eyes narrowing. "What are you talking about? This isn't the place for personal grievances. The scientific community deserves to know about the unethical tactics you've employed to discredit my work," Maya asserted, her body tensing as she prepared for the confrontation. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as Maya stepped onto the stage, her heart pounding in her chest. With a deep inhale, she began to present the evidence she had gathered. "Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today not just as a scientist, but as someone who has faced systemic bias and betrayal in this very community." She clicked through slides, displaying Ethan's emails and recordings that revealed his manipulation of information. The audience shifted uncomfortably, faces blanched with disbelief as they absorbed the truth laid bare before them. Ethan's face turned crimson as he stood from his seat, his voice rising above the murmurs. "This is outrageous. You're twisting the narrative to suit your agenda." Maya held her ground, determined. "No, Dr. Collins. You are the one twisting the truth. I have worked tirelessly to advance our understanding of this disease, and I will not let your deceit tarnish my contributions." The audience, once divided, began to rally behind her, their expressions shifting from shock to support. "You can't silence her," shouted a colleague from the back, echoing the sentiments of many who had witnessed Maya's struggles firsthand. Ethan's bravado crumbled as the tide turned against him. "You'll regret this, Maya," he hissed, but the defiance in her eyes only grew stronger. With the conference coming to a close, Maya felt a sense of empowerment wash over her. The truth had been exposed, and the community would not forget. As Ethan faced disciplinary action, whispers of his unethical behavior spread like wildfire, tarnishing his once respected reputation. Weeks passed, and Maya stood on stage once more, this time at an award ceremony where she was honored with a prestigious grant for her research. The applause was deafening, and as she looked out at the audience, she saw faces filled with admiration, not just for her work but for her courage. "Today, I stand here not just for myself, but as a representative of all those who have been marginalized in the scientific community," she began, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "This journey has taught me that resilience and integrity can triumph over prejudice and betrayal." As she accepted the award, Maya reflected on the road she had traveled. Her hard work and determination had led her to this moment, and she knew she had paved the way for others to follow. In a surprising twist, news broke shortly after her award that Ethan, now in disgrace, had been assigned to mentor young scientists from marginalized backgrounds as part of his reformation. The juxtaposition of their paths ignited hope in Maya's heart. Perhaps this was the change the scientific community needed, a chance for redemption and a commitment to fostering diversity in a field that had once felt so exclusive. Maya stepped down from the stage, a sense of peace enveloping her. She had not only reclaimed her place in the scientific world, but had also ignited a flame of hope for a future where everyone, regardless of their background, could have a seat at the table.